G'day everyone. We are back in the far north. Just came up from Wellington the other day and we've gone straight into camping with Aya's family. So last couple of days just been hanging out with them, chilling out at our little campsite, spending a bit of time on the beach with my nieces and nephews and just having a great time. But we are in this rather beautiful location, as you can see behind me here. Check it out. Pretty nice. And it also is probably a reasonable little dive spot. So it's just a shore dive because I've still just got all my gear from Wellington, because I haven't even been home from Wellington yet. So I'm headed out there and we will see if we can score a feed for the whānau and make everyone super happy. Let's go. I'm ready to go. We just walked along the beach there, maybe 10 minutes, probably not even that, maybe 5 minutes. Seemed pretty quick. Often you don't need to go that far to find a decent feed, so we'll see how we do. So this was the first fish I managed to shoot, and unfortunately my camera wasn't rolling at the time, but yeah, just snuck over a ledge, found a couple of snapper this size sitting there and managed to get the shaft into this one. And my shot here is probably a little bit high and it rips off, so I'm pretty sure it's hurt, so I just drop the gun and follow it along. Wounded snapper like this will often just find somewhere to park up and lick their wounds, so to speak. So what I'm hoping this fish is going to do is just find somewhere to tuck down into the weeds and I'll be able to drop down and grab it. But when it pushes out into a bit of deeper water, I decide I'm going to dive on it and just see if I can manage to get it. I'm probably being a little bit impatient here. In fact, there's no probably about it. I am being impatient. So yeah, drop down on it and follow it around, sort of trying to get close enough to grab it. Every time when I'm just about ready to grab it, it just takes off again. And if I'd backed off here, it probably would have parked up there and sat for a while, but I had a go at it and completely missed it, and it ends up swimming off and I can't see it anymore. Emma. I'm not feeling the greatest about the snapper I just lost, but there's nothing to do but continue on, so I carry on snooping around over the ledges. And when I come over this ledge here, I notice there's a whole lot of fish tear out of there, so I kind of figure it's probably a spot where fish feel comfortable to park up. So I decide it's probably a good spot to set a burley. There's lots of kinner here, so drop down and just start getting to work smashing a whole lot of kinner. Snapper absolutely love kinner, and kinner burley works really well for them, especially in summer where there's a lot of sharks around, and using a fish burley is more likely to attract sharks. Kinner burley is often pretty good. I head off looking for crayfish. I left my gun where I'd set the burley to mark it, so I head off and I'm just looking for crayfish when I see this fish swimming around, and yeah, that's that fish that I shot before. This time, however, it's got much less energy. It's an easy grab, and I head to the surface pretty stoked that I managed to get that fish.
Thank goodness for that. I knew he was pretty damaged. I was a bit gutted at losing him, but so yeah, I'm pretty stoked to find him. Oof.
I deal with that fish, put him in my float boat, and then come back to check the burley. And as I look at it, I can see a few snapper. There's nothing particularly big there. There's a couple of fish that would probably be legal, so I decide I'm going to line one up and have a shot. And yeah, get a pretty decent shot into this fish. Pretty much stone it with my shot. And yeah, it's another fish for the bag.
It ain't the biggest snapper in the world, but hey, we've got a family to feed, and a couple of tasty fillets there.
So I dealt with that snapper, put it in the bag, went off, did a little bit more searching for crays, didn't really find anything, so doubled back to check the burley again after a while. I'd smashed a few more kinner after I shot the first fish off it, and here I am back again. Once again, there's a few fish on the burley, nothing big, but still a couple of nice eating size fish there. So once again, line on up, have a shot, and nail it. And yeah, once again, another stone shot, and I'm pretty happy about that. And it's another snapper for the bag, so the bag is slowly starting to get a bit of kai in there. I move on from the burley, head a bit further out, and end up coming to a point that has a bit of swell on it. So start driving around there. It looks pretty good. The ground looks pretty good. Plenty of fish around, all good signs. And yeah, I hear over this ledge and don't see much at first, and then I notice a couple of nice fish right down the bottom. So I drop down in on them, and they're actually a pair of little kingfish. Unfortunately, they're probably a little bit small, so I decided I'd better leave them to it.
If those kingies have been a little bit bigger, maybe.
So this is pretty hard case. I had my other camera stashed in my dive float, and it must have got turned on when I was putting the fish in there or something at some point. But by this time I was diving around a point that had a whole lot of wash on it, and unfortunately my float boat got caught up in the wash and flipped. And in the process, the camera got tipped out of it. I immediately noticed that the float boat had got turned over, so I started looking hard out for the camera, and I was starting to have a bit of a panic thinking I was lost it. But I kept at it, just kept searching around, probably searched for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and luckily managed to find it. Look for that. Wow. Bit of a luck story here. I'm diving around this pin here, and my float boat got flipped up sort of upside down. This camera you're watching me on now was in it, and I was just freaking out for a bit that it was gone, but I just found it. Woo. Lucky. Alright, we'll carry on with the dive, see if the luck extends to getting a couple more fish. Whew. I carry on diving around the point, exploring the whole area, looking over all the ledges, and despite there being a lot of small fish activity, I don't really end up finding anything to shoot. And so on the way back in, I come back and decide I'll have another check of that burley. I'd left it for quite a while at this point, so I wasn't expecting that there'd be too much activity. But as I poke my head over here, there is a bunch of fish in there, but they all spook, unfortunately. So yeah, don't end up with another fish off there. And I'm just about back at the beach when I find this pair of trevally milling around in a little gutter. So I sink down and I have to kind of be a little bit patient for the one I want to come in. But eventually it does. I reach out and I take the shot. And I manage to hit the fish. It runs around a bit, but my shot is not a great shot, and the fish ends up ripping off the spear. Alright, I made it back to the truck, and both my cameras were flat, so couldn't film an outro here. So I've actually made it back to camp, and I'm about to fill up my fish up. But just before I do, I've just got them laid out. Show you the catch. There we are. We got 3 snapper, none big, but should be a bit of a feed anyway for the family. So I'm going to get these filleted and carry on with the rest of my day. So that's pretty much it for this one. I'm going to say thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Cheers.